I've got some ideas we can kick around, but you're gonna have to tell me your name, sweetheart.
I'm Peggy Olson, and I want to smoke some marijuana.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a very special podcast. This is the podcast in which we talk about all of your favorite television series from yesteryear and then discuss them over a glass of wine. And I'm Patrick M. Dunn. You probably remember me from the previous 50-something episodes. And as always, I'm joined here by Kat Halstead, the author.
Hello, everybody. Patrick, what would happen if I didn't join you one week? What if you replaced me?
I kind of want to slip into some Beyonce Irreplaceable right now. And I'll give you the Brenda Walsh boot and switch your seat with the special guest that we have been trying to woo into making an appearance on our podcast.
Oh, I hate you. You can't replace me with him if we ever got him. No, not cool.
Shall we tell the story of our guest?
Yes, okay. Let me tell the story. Okay, so I was going through Craigslist looking at the job listings, and I recently moved to a bigger area, more metropolitan area. And I came across, I'm just like looking through the ads, and I see one that says, I need to hire somebody to pretend to be my identical twin brother to trick my boss. And I'm sitting here like, okay, wait, what? I did not just read this ad.
Was that like the headline?
Yeah, the headline. And I'm just like, this can't be real. This cannot be real. So I go and I read the ad, and this guy seems serious. And I'm just like, oh my God. I didn't think people actually did this in real life at all. And I tweeted you, and I tweeted a couple of my other friends like, oh my God, what is this? And then I emailed the guy and was like, I'd love for you to come on our podcast and talk about this, because this is totally like what we talk about, crazy sitcom situations. And he never emailed me back, so I'm kind of sad.
Yeah, so I think we should get into the details of what the ad entailed.
Oh my God, do you have a copy of the ad? I don't think I still have a copy of it.
I don't, but I kind of remember the gist of it. So this guy in Colorado, or wherever the hell it is you live, he works in an office somewhere, and on his desk he had a picture of himself and his fictitious identical twin brother.
Yeah, he works in an office, and he like photoshopped pictures of himself into the other pictures so it looks like he has an identical twin to trick his boss or something.
Yeah, so it's some kind of weird fake twin brother scenario that he probably made up for some reason that will be beneficial to himself for some reason. Anyway, so this guy photoshopped a second image of himself in like a ski trip photo or something, and he's passing it off to his boss that it's his real life twin brother.
Yeah, like a ski trip picture, like a couple of like vacation shots or something, like the kind of thing where he just like photocopied, like he photoshopped himself into the picture that he was already in, so it looks like there's two of him.
Yes. So, in the Craigslist ad, the guy goes further on about how he created this whole backstory for his twin brother, and naturally things are finally catching up to the hero in the story, because his boss wants to meet the twin brother now. So, he throws this Craigslist ad out into the world, and is trying to hire someone to play his twin brother in real life. And I shit you not, I know this sounds like a television show we've watched before, but it's real life, and it's happening.
This is not a show. This is 100% real life Colorado people.
This is what happens when you legalize marijuana in a state.
I guess so. Like, what? Oh my gosh.
Crazy chance. So we have been adamantly reaching out to him, trying to get him to come onto the podcast and just describe this whole scenario to us, but he...
Like, I want to know how it got started. I have so many questions. Oh, and the best part. We forgot the best part. The guy said he looks like a young Bob Saget.
So like a season 1 Danny Tanner.
Yeah. I think it was like a season 1 Danny Tanner he put a picture of for the Craigslisting. But it wasn't I saw other weird Craigslisting things that I'm like, I thought this only happened on TV. Like, how there's always like the little cheesy TV rom-coms where somebody has to like hire somebody to pretend to be their boyfriend or girlfriend. I saw a couple ads like that.
It's almost kind of like the thing we're doing tonight, which is two people pretending to be somebody else in order to get cheap rent.
Yes.
So in case you haven't read the episode description, tonight we are doing the classic early 80s sitcom, The Bosom Buddies.
Woohoo! Bosom Buddies. This is actually a request, too.
Yes, this was a passive request from your stepmom, I believe?
Yes.
Who has probably never listened to an episode, but just knows about this weird internet radio thingy about old television shows that you do every week with a stranger on the internet.
It was like a request suggestion she made back in January at like my nephew's birthday party.
And we've been sitting on it since then. We figured we're swinging into the fall season. This is a fun time to wrap up our requests.
Yes.
So in case you don't know, the premise of Bosom Buddies, as I just briefly summarized, is so it stars Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari.
Yes, who was in Newhart, which we have already covered.
Yes, and we've also done The Burbs, which also stars Tom Hanks.
Oh, yeah. We pretend that episode didn't happen.
Yes, that was our drunk episode. It's like 4 hours long if you have time, if you're going on a long plane trip.
And you just want to listen to two drunks ramble.
It starts off with promise. Anyway, the premise of Bosom Buddies is two young, strapping men living in New York City. They are evicted from their apartment complex because I guess they couldn't afford their rent any longer.
Okay, so they moved to New York and they get this dirt cheap apartment. The reason it's dirt cheap is it's about to be demolished. And they are in the apartment when it gets demolished. Like, it's like a Friday morning or something, and, they're in bed. It's still a little while before they have to get up, and this wrecking ball comes through their wall.
Like, nobody came and went through and checked, like, door to door?
Like, nobody warned them that their building was getting torn down, so they need to find a place to live.
So, did the slumlord put any memos on their door? Or are we to assume the memo blew away, or maybe it was placed in a common area, like on a bulletin board, and Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari were just too lazy to read it?
Where all the flyers are, and nobody, pays attention, because really, who cares?
Yeah, no one ever reads any of that stuff.
Exactly, because really, obviously the building's going to get torn down, duh.
You would think, though, that someone from the bulldozing company would at least check the building to make sure that everyone was outside.
Yeah, you would think somebody would make sure there was, nobody else in the building. But no, they didn't. So they come up with this crazy idea to dress as women so that they can live in this apartment building, the Susan B. Anthony Hotel.
Female residents only.
Yeah, it's like a women's only. You watch Agent Carter, right?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. The Susan B. Anthony Hotel is very Agent Carter-esque. Like, Peggy Carter's cover story was that she lived in the Griffith Hotel.
It's that kind of, living... You kind of, rent your room or your little studio apartment or whatever. But then you have, the lady who makes sure you're in by curfew and stuff. It's a little weird. But it was still the 80s, and I don't think they do this anymore.
I'm not sure. I think there might still be a few left in New York City somewhere. I thought I heard one get mentioned recently in a murder-themed podcast I listened to, but I remember thinking it was bizarre because it's such an early to mid-20th century kind of thing.
I just don't know if it's something that would exist. There's a lot with some of these older shows, you kind of go, could you do that today? I don't think you could. No. When Henry's on his date, when he's, that first scene with Henry on the date, I'm kind of I don't think that would work in 2016.
What was old-fashioned about Henry's date other than it being awkward? Was it because he didn't immediately get laid? I don't know, in 1980 primetime television, was it a social norm to not insinuate that someone was knocking boots?
Yeah, the social norms and mores have totally changed over the years.
So now we have the Bosom Buddies. They move into the Susan B. Anthony Hotel because it's dirt cheap. But the catch is they have to remain dressed as women at all times because I guess anyone in the hotel can stop by unannounced.
Yeah, because, it's you make friends with people in the building. And so when they're at home, they still have to be Buffy and Hildegard. They can't be Kip and Henry. So, because men aren't allowed past, like, the lobby or, like, up into the elevators. Like, they're allowed in the restaurant area, but they're not allowed upstairs.
So, as men, they can hang out down in the restaurant area?
Yeah.
As soon as you go cross the threshold of the elevator, they have to be Buffy and Hildegard?
Yes.
All right, so Tom Hanks, he is Kip in this show?
Yes, he is Kip and Buffy.
So, as a man, he's Kip, but as a lady, he is Buffy. And Peter Scolari is Henry, but as a lady, he is Hildegard.
Yes.
Which they picked, like, the two most obvious fake names possible.
These names, I'm just like, would people have had these names in 1980?
There definitely was at least one Buffy in the 90s.
Yes, I'm very aware of Buffy.
I can't say the same about Hildegard, but they call her Hildy.
Yeah, they call her Hildy.
And which I believe, I've heard the name Hildy on Mad Men before, so I guess it's a real name.
Yeah, they're real names. They're not fake. They're just not common names.
The show deep down is really like a buddy comedy. That's, I think, what the producers were aiming for.
Yeah, they wanted to do a male counterpart to Laverne and Shirley. But when they sold the pilot to ABC had the condition that the guys dress up as women.
Yeah, I don't know. Was Tootsie out yet?
Because they had kind of like jokingly mentioned it in the pitch, but ABC executives latched onto that, kind of like a Some Like It Hot sort of thing.
The only way they would make their show is if it involved cross-dressing. Okay, that works. So the show would only air 2 seasons from November 1980 to May 1982. It aired on ABC. However, I guess a few years later, summer of 1984, NBC re-aired the show. This was right after Tom Hanks came out with Bachelor Party.
Yeah, it's like right when Splash became a hit, like right when his movie career started to like take off.
Yeah, I guess they wanted to do that like remember when kind of thing.
Well, it was like NBC bought the rights to the show. They wanted to remake it. They wanted to continue it. But Tom Hanks was doing the movies and Peter Scolari had joined Newhart, so they couldn't.
I guess it was probably for the better.
Yeah, I can't imagine like there being more Bosom Buddies than what we have.
I think this one episode was enough for me.
It would not be the cult classic that I think it is.
Yeah, it was always in a syndication rotation on various channels, because that's how I remember it.
Yeah, I remember it from syndication, and I remember it's one of those rain delay shows.
Like if the Red Sox game gets rained out.
Yeah, a sports game is supposed to be on, but it gets rain delayed, so they have to like fill in that time with something on air. So they throw on like a Bosom Buddies episode or an Out of This World or something really random. Small wonder.
They blow the dust off the VHS tape of America's Sweethearts, Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we have the rights to Bosom Buddies. We usually air it at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Let's toss on an episode right now.
Did you ever watch it in syndication?
Yeah, I did. I remember watching it in syndication when I was like really little. So I don't think I like really understood what was going on.
I just remember thinking it was hilarious to see the guy from Turner and Hooch dressed up as a lady.
I just remember Tom Hanks being goofy. And you know how much I love a goofy Tom Hanks.
Yes, this was an in his prime Tom Hanks, strictly a comedic actor. None of that Forrest Gump Philadelphia bullshit he shoved down our throats in the Clinton years.
And they did a lot of improv on the show.
And quick, quirky humor, and the two main actors, they meshed very well together.
Yeah, they have great chemistry. It's a shame they haven't done anything else together.
No, maybe they're working up to it.
Maybe.
I don't know, but Tom Hanks is a completely different human being now.
Oh, can I bring this back to Bob Saget? Because guess what? He was the warm-up comic for Bosom Buddies.
Oh, so if you were in the studio audience, you would have gotten to see him work the crowd?
And his first TV appearance is an episode of Bosom Buddies.
He's in one?
Yeah, he's in an episode.
Why did we not do that episode instead?
Because I just found this out this morning.
Oh, you should have immediately contacted me and said we need to redo.
Oh, I've got more gems. I have so much more gems.
All right, so there's a few facts about the show. So the original theme song to the show, it was a Billy Joel song. It wasn't sung by Billy Joel.
Yeah, they had somebody else sing it.
But it was the song My Life.
Yeah, which has been in my head all day.
They cut the theme song from the syndicated and DVD recuts, so instead you get the Shake Me Loose song, which is not as good.
No, it's not. It doesn't fit at all
with what's going on the screen. And I read the Amazon reviews, this pissed off a lot of people.
Well, it's like, okay, the Dawson's Creek DVDs, they don't have the Meredith Brooks song or whatever it is.
Paula Cole.
Yeah, Paula Cole. It was one of those. I couldn't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, they have like, I forget what they have. I think it's like Alanis Morissette or something. It's somebody different.
It's Jan
and it
Arden.
just feels so wrong. It's something totally else. You're just like, no.
When they put Dawson's Creek on Netflix a couple years back, and it's on Hulu now, I tried to watch a few episodes, and I could not get past the new and unimproved theme song. It just did not work. And I was like,
whatever that's the same song, like whatever it is. Because, yeah, I have like the box set right here, and it's just totally different. So I understand the fans of Bosom Buddies being upset that the theme song got switched.
So the moral of the story is do not buy the Dawson's Creek box set. Or if you do, go onto YouTube before and just watch the original theme song.
Just skip the opening credits, if possible.
Not only did they cut out the Billy Joel song, they also cut out like entire musical numbers.
Oh, I hate that. Because it's the music rights thing. That's why there's so many like awesome shows that have not been put on DVD because of music rights. Like Mad About You isn't on DVD because of music rights.
What kind of music did Mad About You play?
You know, every once in a while there's like a song here or there that gets played and they can't get the rights to use it again for the DVDs.
I'm pretty sure you can see Mad About You on Crackle. Not the entire series, but select episodes.
It's on FXX every morning. I may or may not have a DVR recording set for it.
All right, I'll have to check that out because, as everyone knows, I am a Helen Hunt fan.
Yes. Oh my God, you're going to have to watch it. We're going to have to do an episode. I'll just say this. Paul and Jamie are like probably one of my favorite TV couples ever.
And even when they added a baby, it didn't get worse. It stayed the same.
Yes, when they added Mabel. Okay, what else?
The first season ratings for the show are very strong, but they shuffled it around the time slot a lot.
Yeah, whenever they do that, don't you networks understand you can't just shuffle stuff around and expect it to keep the momentum if we can't find it, especially back in the day?
And then there was a writer's strike in 1980, so the first season's like extremely short.
Oh, that's right, because we did the Magnum. Magnum started that year too, and they started in December because of the writer's strike.
Yes. When the show came back for its second season, they slightly revised the premise.
Yes, the men revealed that they were actually men, not women.
And they cut back down on the cross-dressing scenes as well.
Yes.
The producers went for their original intention of just making a buddy comedy, but at this point it was like known as the Men Dress as Ladies show.
Yeah.
If you pull away from that, you're probably gonna confuse a lot of viewers.
Yeah, if you tune in to watch Tom Hanks and Peter Scolari cross-dress each week, and then they're not cross-dressing anymore, you're kind of like, WTF.
I did watch part of a second season episode, and I will say that their makeup work was a lot better in this episode than compared to the one that we watched tonight.
Yeah, well, the more you do your makeup, the more you find what works for you. You get more comfortable with it.
That is true. So, want to hear something else fun about the show?
Okay.
We haven't talked about backlots in a while, like Hollywood backlots.
Yeah, and we know how much we love those.
So, Bosom Buddies was taped on Stage 25 at Paramount, which was also home of Cheers and Frasier.
And The Lucy Show.
And The Lucy Show. And Adam Scott and Paul Rudd, they did a shot-for-shot remake of the opening credits for Adult Swim, and they actually wooed Billy Joel to sing the lyrics for the song for the first time.
Yes, they did. I watched that this morning.
So there's a video on YouTube. I guess it was on Adult Swim a couple years back.
Yes, it was from the greatest event in television history.
Paul Rudd goes deep into... It's a pretend remake of Bosom Buddies is the whole joke. And Paul Rudd gets like deeply into the character. He becomes like a method actor, kind of like Jared Leto with the Joker.
Oh, freaking Jared Leto. We haven't mentioned him in ages.
The cat is out of the bag. The Suicide Squad has finally been released. We've only talked about it on and off the last couple of months. And now that I guess it did not do too well critically, Jared Leto is backing off on his love for the Joker. He's saying that he was tricked into being asked to play him.
Oh, he was tricked into playing the Joker. and being like crazy and harassing his castmates and stuff. He was tricked. They gaslighted him. Is that what he's basically saying?
He's now saying that he thought it was going to be some like serious artistic approach to the Joker. But come on, let's get real. The word damaged was tattooed on his forehead. How serious and artistic can that be?
Okay, I grew up loving Batman, but the Batman I grew up loving was Adam West and then Michael Keaton. And while Jack Nicholson's Joker is pretty dark, he's still kind of like comical and cheesy in a way.
He's supposed to be.
Yeah, but then you get Heath Ledger's, who's definitely not as comical, not as cheesy. And it takes that darker turn. I feel like the DC movies just keep getting darker and darker and darker and not embracing like the fun of comics.
Well, Suicide Squad, I think they reshot a lot of it, but it kind of had its quirky moments, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I haven't seen it yet. I probably won't see it until it's like on demand for free from like HBO or something.
It'll be a future episode when we do like Jared Leto month next year.
Coming to a podcast near you, Jared Leto month.
All right, so shall we get into the episode that we are discussing, or do you have more fun facts about this?
We have more fun facts, but they can come up later.
Okay, sure. So the episode we chose, we didn't want to do the first one because we thought it would be, I guess, too much setup. So we wanted to kind of go a few episodes in.
Yeah, so we did the fourth episode called Macho Man. And in this episode, Henry realizes he's kind of the nice guy girls don't see as boyfriend material because he's not like 80s macho man, end of the disco era kind of guy. So, like, he's trying to overcorrect that in a way, and he tries to be all macho, but he's a nice guy, and he pisses everybody off.
Oh, yeah, he takes his personality and he multiplies it by 1,000,000, and he pisses off everyone he knows in the process.
Everybody in the hotel, everybody in the office, except for one chick, who I just want to slap her the whole time.
Is it that blonde girl, like the blonde secretary?
Yeah, Camille.
So, the official summary of this episode is, tired of being seen by women as a sensitive guy, Henry tries to prove that he can be tough and manly. Which, I guess it's jokey because they dress up like women all the time and they're worried about their masculinity.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I wanted to do this one when I was reading the different descriptions, because I was like, oh, okay, they dress up as women and now he's kind of having an identity crisis.
There's a lot of what is masculinity presented in this episode.
It does. It's kind of interesting to watch it in like 2016 with, you know, you don't really see that whole macho kind of guy anymore, really.
The episode opens with Henry and he's on a date.
Yeah, just some chick. They've gone out for like 3 weeks.
A nameless character. She's like a foxy blonde. He's been courting this woman for 3 weeks. And I guess all he's gotten out of this relationship is just like a kiss on the forehead at the end of every date.
Okay, they've been dating 3 weeks. Let's just guess that probably means at least 3 dinners, maybe a couple of lunches, maybe like one other activity, you know? And all he's gotten is a kiss on the forehead, and after 3 weeks, she's kind of like, oh yeah, I see you as like a brother.
What he says to her after she kisses him on the forehead, he says he would prefer her soft lips on another erogenous zone.
Yes! Like, who says that?
Was he implying that he wanted a blowjob?
I think he would have settled for the lips, a kiss on the lips, but like, you know, we've been going out for a while, like, we could get physical. It's 1980.
And she's just like, no, you're just like a brother / friend / confidant. And then she's like, you know what, instead of the forehead, I'll just kiss you on the cheek tonight.
Oh God, it was so sad to watch this.
And then she goes into her apartment. So, like, they're in one of those indoor apartment complexes. So, like, you see, it almost looks like a hotel hallway.
Yeah.
There's, like, a potted indoor plant behind him. And he picks it up, and he just, like, smashes it against the wall right when the neighbor is coming out of his apartment. And he's, like, coming out with a
trash bag.
A trash bag. And the plant hits the trash bag, and the trash bag, like, explodes open. So now there's trash and plants everywhere.
Yeah, and like fake plant.
And then like in soil, like plant in soil.
Yeah, there's like fake soil.
He loses his shit.
Yeah.
And the girl comes out, she must hear it, And she comes back out and she's like, you all right?
She must be like, what the fuck is going on?
He's like all nonchalant and he's like, yeah, see you later, babe.
Yeah, he like throws the plant like over his shoulder like it's an axe or something. It was so weird. Before he had his little rage attack, he did say to her, or no, she said to him, one of them said this, I forgot to write down here. Friends last longer than lovers anyways.
He did say that to her, but he was kind of saying it.
It was kind of like sarcastic, like...
Yeah, he was being sarcastic. He was deep down, he was pissed. He just wanted to play that night, and she was not giving out. And he went home with a broken indoor fern.
Yeah, like, yeah, he's stuck with that plant now.
I'm surprised that, like, neighbor didn't, like, come back with, like, a shotgun or something.
Yeah, like... The neighbor was just like, okay. But again, this is like 1980 New York City. I think it's kind of scary and sketchy back then.
Yeah, this is like a tough place.
I think maybe you don't want to mess with the guy swinging a plant around in your hallway. Who knows what he's hopped up on?
That is true. He could have been on, like, he could have been all coked up.
And you don't want to mess with that.
Now we cut to the next morning. Kip and Henry, they're now dressed as girls, as Buffy and Hildegard, and they're mowing down their breakfast in front of the other ladies.
It is hilarious because the other ladies are like, why are you eating sausage and eggs and toast? And they're just like, the ladies are like nibbling on grapefruit.
Yes, this is where you kind of get this whole men versus women kind of thing, because
yes,
the ladies are all talking about how busy their days are going to be, non-stop running around New York City and the things they have to do to satisfy their male bosses.
Yes.
And meanwhile, Buffy and Hildy are oblivious to this conversation, and they're just shoving sausages and pancakes down their gullets.
Yes, there's so much food. And then they're like asking if they can finish what's left on the girls' plate. And they're all like, what the heck? You gotta keep your girlish figures, ladies. Come on now.
So this leads us now to the $25,000 question. Are men, including those who dress as women, for cheaper rent, horrible listeners?
Well, Patrick, do you really want to hear my thought on that?
Tonight is the night.
Men can be terrible listeners.
That is true, because according to science, men only process language with the left side of their brains, whereas women use both the left and right.
Oh, well then. Okay, thank you, science.
Yes, so we love science, so anytime we can bring a science fact into this podcast, we will shoot for it.
Yes.
So this show definitely has a lot of girl power because the hotel is named the Susan B. Anthony Hotel.
Yes, it is.
She was the first woman voter?
She was a suffragette. She was like the leader of the suffragettes to try and get the vote for women.
After the women depart the Susan B. Anthony Hotel for the day, Kip and... why do I keep saying Kip? Hildy and Buffy are... they're now scoping out, like, the hard body that is leaving the building.
Mm-hmm.
They're almost caught by... Is her name Lily Sinclair?
Yeah, I think it's Lillian, yeah.
Lillian Sinclair. She's like the den mother, the owner, I guess.
Yeah, she's like the manager. She's like your house mom or something. She's the one who's going to come by at 10 o'clock and make sure you're in bed and that there's no guys in your room.
But she is super oblivious to the fact that these two are really men dressed as women, because, come on, let's get real.
I know, right?
What they are wearing is not realistic at all. I can't even describe the way they look. Just Google Bosom Buddies and you will see what I'm talking about.
I feel like maybe it's part of the times, but I don't know.
If these were really women, these would have been like the homeliest women who have ever lived.
I think that's kind of the joke, especially when they tell the girls that they're actresses.
Let's rewind a little bit, because I guess the other girls, they really don't know what Buffy and Hildy do.
Yeah, because they've never said what they do for work. They're like, what do you do? They're like, oh, we're actresses.
Yeah, they haven't even like thought that far ahead in their plan.
They're like, oh, we can't say we're in advertising like our fictional brothers, because when they're Kip and Henry, they pretend to be Buffy and Hildegard's brothers.
They could have said they were advertisers, because this is 20 years after Mad Men, like after Peggy Olson took the world by storm.
Yes, well, we have Peggy Olson to thank for Ruth Dunbar, their boss.
That is true. So, like, Ruth Dunbar very well could be Peggy Olson.
She could be.
She changed her name because she wanted to hide herself from the horrible people that she worked with in the 60s.
Well, wouldn't you? Let's be real.
You heard this here first. Bosom Buddies is a prequel/sequel to Mad Men.
Bring on the fan theories!
It was made before Mad Men, but it is the sequel to Mad Men. I guess if we went through the whole series, we could probably find more reasons why Ruth Dunbar is Peggy Olson.
We probably could, yeah.
Maybe we'll save that for a blog post.
You can get right on that after we record.
All right, so Lillian Sinclair, she is oblivious to the fact that Buffy and Hildy are really men. She is super into these two ladies. And
yeah, she's like, oh, ladies.
She sees the hard body walk out, the one that they were like oogling over.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she could learn a thing or two from Hildy. Because Hildy oozes femininity.
She is 100% woman. The inner glow of femininity.
She is Whitney Houston's I'm Every Woman.
Yes!
But since Henry is already beaten up about being overly sensitive, he doesn't take this compliment too well.
No, he doesn't. He's just like not here for being girly at all.
He considers like his whole feminine side as a means of cheaper rent.
He's not dressing up as a woman because he enjoys it. He's doing it because he can't afford a decent apartment and not dress up like a woman.
Yes, because the ad agency they work at pays minimum wage, we will learn in this episode.
Minimum wage back in 1980 was not much.
It's probably like $4 an hour.
I don't think it was even that.
$3 an hour.
Let's find out. Well, it looks to be $3.10.
Damn, so Kip is the copyright. No, Kip is the graphic designer and Henry is the copywriter for this ad agency. And they work like back to back.
Yeah, they're kind of like your little team.
And they only make $3.10 an hour.
God, that's depressing.
We now have a cutscene. So I guess after they leave the Susan B. Anthony Hotel, they go into the subway to change.
Yeah, those are my questions. Where the heck did these people, where did they change? Like, do they change, like, do the subway stations have bathrooms?
Yeah, so we get the scene of them. You see them walking down the subway stairs, then they as women, and they come back up as men.
Yeah.
It's so Superman looking for a phone booth.
Yes, that's probably where they were doing is in some phone booth.
But in the theme song, in the actual like theme song credits, they show them like popping out of like a sewer manhole.
Mm-hmm, yes, like we're gonna go into the sewer and change into our dresses.
So I don't know, like, does every episode have them changing somewhere different? Because I feel like that would be a fun thing to do in the show. Like, let's have them get changed, like Central Park today, pop behind bushes or something.
Yeah, let's just pop behind the bushes and hope we don't get murdered.
Or a phone booth, like Superman, as I previously mentioned.
Let me pop into the library and get out of my dress and put on my suit.
Why would Superman go into a phone booth? Because wouldn't people walk by and see him, like, ripping off his Clark Kent clothes?
Doesn't Superman move fast enough that he can move fast enough and take off his clothes that nobody would see him? Or is the Flash only the one who can move that fast?
Well, he is faster than a speeding bullet.
So I feel like he doesn't need to, like, go somewhere and change. Where does he put his clothes when he's Superman?
The Flash has the best explanation for this because the Flash shrunk down his costume and it fits in a wristwatch. And he just, like, hits a button on his wristwatch and it pops out and, like, it goes around him.
Wow, okay.
So I don't know if Superman has the same technology.
No, I feel like Superman wears his spandex under his clothes.
Yeah, it's kind of like the time that I was a girl for Halloween one year, speaking of Bosom Buddies, and I went to the liquor store before the party I went to, and I had, like, my costume on underneath my regular clothes. I will say one thing, I had to carry around a purse that night. It was kind of liberating. You can put all your shit in there and just kind of carry it around. You don't have to have it in pockets or hold on to it, so...
Well, you at least have pockets. Not all women's clothing comes with pockets.
You know what? Having stuff in your pockets like wallets and phones and keys and just other things, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I carry a purse, so...
Man Purse 2016.
Hashtag it. Tweet us at Very Podcast.
Yes. If you agree that the Man Purse should come into power this year, definitely tweet us. All right, so now we're going to cut over to Livingston, Gentry, and Michigan, which is the advertising agency they work at.
Yes.
It's not Sterling Cooper.
No, it's not. Sorry.
Draper Price, or whatever it's called.
Or whatever one they ended up at the end.
Yes. So they work for Ruth Dunbar, which we've previously mentioned, who is really Peggy Olson.
Played by Holland Taylor.
Not played by Elizabeth Moss, because she was not born yet.
Oh, dear God, that's depressing.
They're just kind of like joking around at work, like joking about donuts or something, and Kip is trying to pass off a moldy donut.
Why is there a moldy donut. That was another question. How could there be a moldy donut? It's a donut, for crying out loud. A donut is going to get eaten. Do they not have a Homer Simpson in their office?
They showed the donut, and it just looked like a green frosted donut.
Yeah, it's about as green as my Ecto Cooler right here.
Mold is not like neon green.
No, it's not.
And Mrs. Dunbar, we finally get introduced to her. She comes out. She's in search for Henry because her client, Granny Katie's Cocoa Cookies,
yes,
loved his copy for the product, and he was being eyeballed by other clients. Mrs. Dunbar, she further demasculates Henry right here and says that the copy was very sweet, and she hadn't seen like anything written with such heart since I think she read a card from her niece or something like that.
Yeah.
And now, like, some of the other ladies in the office, they're now coming over. They're looking to Henry for love advice.
He's become that guy.
Someone calls him flowery and frilly, but I can't remember who.
Oh, I forget who did it. I didn't write that down.
Is it Mrs. Dunbar, maybe?
Maybe. It might be Ruth, yeah.
Yeah, so you got this whole, like, trifecta of people coming up to Henry, either saying he's super sweet, he's flowery and frilly.
You know, he already lost a girl, and then he has the old lady, and now, like, 3 more people are all ragging on him, and they're not, like, being mean, they're being honest, and they think they're giving him a compliment.
Then he's gonna go home and dress up like a woman, so now he's, like, freaking out about this.
He's just, yeah, he's like, oh, he's sweet, gentle, he's non-sexually threatening. He is the guy you friend zone. Yes, Ross Geller was not the first man friend zoned on TV. It was Henry.
Flash forward to the next day. Henry shows up to work. He's dressed like a BG.
Yeah, I said, what did I wrote in my notes. Henry comes in dressed like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. He's got the exposed chest hair, like 6 or 7 gold chains and medallions.
Yeah, like Run DMC gold chains.
Yeah, like Larry on Three's company gold chain.
Tight black pants. The V-neck is so deep. And I don't even think he has chest hair. I think Mrs. Dunbar says something to him like, you look like my nephew or something.
Oh, yeah. I think that there was a little chest hair, but because it was the 80s.
So now Henry calls himself Hank.
He's decided his name is Hank because that is far more masculine than Henry.
Other coworker comes up to Hank, and now she wants to go out to lunch with him.
Oh, yeah, she's, like, all over him. She's just like, oh, yes. Like, it's like, girl, wait, what? This is what gets you going. But then again, maybe it was the 80s, and that's what got people going. I don't know.
They're at work. She just, like, loses her shit on the business floor. It's, like, 9:30 in the morning, and they're going out for lunch.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and they go out to lunch for a steak.
Yeah, like, he hasn't even been at work for, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah, like, Ruth needed him to do some copywriting because apparently the cookies are hazardous.
When Hank busts out for lunch, Tom Hanks says the best line. He says, "You think Hank is a butch name? My grandma had a parakeet named Hank who got eaten by a cat named Puff Puff."
Oh, young Tom Hanks, how I adore you.
And it seemed like such an ad-libbed line, too.
They did do a lot of improv, so... And then we cut to the bar.
They open up the bar with my favorite moment of the entire episode. Kip, he's just like at the bar. You get a close-up of him. You can only see him like from the side. And he's like, I hate guys that are into the whole macho thing. And then he like swirls his chair around and he's holding like a pink frozen margarita with a yellow umbrella.
It's like he's like got a strawberry frozen daiquiri. And he's like sipping on it. That was my favorite moment too. I have it written down.
There's like a whole surrealness too because it's all the ladies from the Susan B. Anthony Hotel. Donna Dixon's character, the black girl, and is Amy there?
Yeah, Amy's there because Henry's gonna come in a minute, all cowboyed up.
All right, so they're all just kind of like chilling around.
Yeah, it's like cocktail hour, it's happy hour after work. They're just hanging out. And he's just like, he's kind of complaining about Henry. It's been a few days, and he's just like getting more ridiculous.
And it gets so surreal because the ladies are joking about like, oh, imagine if Henry like wore a dress, like,
oh my god.
And like they would just like cut to like Tom Hanks, and he just kind of like swirls his chair back the other way and takes a huge sip out of his margarita.
He's like, I'm not saying anything because I've seen him in a dress, and all of you have, but let's move on.
Henry, he's moved on from his, like, Bee Gees phase, so now he's into the whole, like, country western thing.
Yeah, he's trying to be a cowboy. Okay, so basically he's just copying John Travolta movies.
Is it Midnight Cowboy? Is that I'm thinking of?
I bet it is. Oh my god. I'm gonna have to Google something. You keep talking.
Henry comes strolling and he's wearing a cowboy hat, these tight tight blue jeans, and like the cowboy flannel, I guess is what you call it.
Yeah, it's just the plaid.
Yeah. He invites everyone to the hot new club, the Manhattan Corral.
Mm-hmm.
When they finally get to the Manhattan Corral, it's the saddest bar I've ever seen on TV ever.
Yeah, this is like, okay, I have been in quite a few country western bars out here in the West. That bar was pitiful. Pitiful.
You know how on TV shows, so we did like Small Wonder last year, and we joked about like how the set of the department store was just like one big room with like a counter and a cash register.
Yeah.
The bar set for the Manhattan Corral, it's just like a brightly lit room. The floor was covered in hay.
Mm-hmm.
It had a mechanical bull in the middle, and then there was just like 10 extras maybe just like standing in the background.
And then the floor, just all that hay.
They do that thing on TV where, so if they like do like a bar scene, everyone's going to be like against the wall, and then the actual characters are going to be in the middle, even though like in real life it would be opposite of that.
Yeah, everybody would just kind of be like all over the place.
Something tells me the hay scattered across the floor of this bar is probably some kind of fire hazard.
Yeah, when you go into a bar and they have a mechanical bull, maybe this is 1980, things probably changed. You don't have hay anymore, but now you have padding like you do for little kids at Gymboree.
Yeah, like the mats that are in like high school gymnasiums.
Yes.
Like if you do like rope climbing, it would be like underneath padding, like a foam padding.
Yes, exactly.
And like I don't even think hay would protect you that much if you fell off this mechanical bull they had.
Yeah, hay is not like comfortable. Hay is itchy and dry and yuck.
They had the characters like walking through it, and they were like struggling to like walk through this.
Yeah. And hay gets all over you. Hay is just not fun.
It's just funny, like, so they have this whole, like, not only is it like a fire hazard, but it's like a walking hazard.
Mm-hmm.
The wild, wild west of the early 80s in New York City, so I guess anything goes.
Which just, oh, by the way, the John Travolta movie, Urban Cowboy.
Oh, what did I say, Midnight Cowboy?
Yeah, that was like something else.
What year was that released?
1980. He does Saturday Night Fever for the first outfit. I bet he does Urban Cowboy for the second. He's trying to be as masculine as John Travolta.
Too bad that he didn't stick around long enough for his portrayal of Robert Shapiro in American Crime Story.
I still need to watch that.
Or Battlefield Earth.
Let's not bring Scientology into this.
So Henry and Amy, I guess they're on like a non-date in this episode.
Yeah, they're okay. So Amy is the classic friendly fat girl who has a crush on one of the guys, and you can tell like they will probably eventually actually get together, kind of thing. Once he gets his head out of his ass.
They do the whole like will they or won't they? I imagine that was what their characters were like.
Yeah, that's probably like what that whole thing was.
So they're on this like non-official date, and even though they're like together, Hank is just still bouncing around the bar like trying to buy beers for other women.
Yeah. And trying to get the other ladies to dance, and they're all like, no. They're like all kind of disgusted by him.
But there wasn't even like a dance floor. Like, are you gonna dance in the hay? We have to paint the bar better for our listeners out there because this thing was just covered in hay.
Yes, there was just so much hay. Like, okay, so imagine you walk into a room. It's not that big.
Think of like the movie The Son-in-Law with Pauly Shore. Doesn't he live in a barn in that movie?
Yes, when he's like in the barn and there's just all that hay. Imagine all of that hay pushed into like one corner with mechanical bolts just like popping out.
And this like ugly green colored wall.
Yeah, these awful walls. Like there weren't really any beer signs or anything. It was actually kind of a dreary bar, except it was brightly lit because it's TV, even though let's be real. Most bars are not brightly lit.
There's ways you can do it. Like when we did mixology, they found a way to make the bar dark, but also bright.
Yeah. Like even on the Netflix series, The Ranch, the bar, like it's bright enough that you can see, but it's not so bright that you're like, oh, it's TV.
And we're obviously missing chairs, which they use like dark colors for the background.
Mm-hmm.
Which I guess creates the illusion of a dark room.
Yeah.
So shout out to Cheers for like perfecting the nightlife of sitcoms.
Yes, cheers. Woohoo! same soundstage.
You know what? They couldn't. Well, you know what? It probably wasn't built yet. When did Cheers start?
Cheers started like, I don't know if this was in 80. Cheers didn't start until like 81, 83.
No, maybe they used the Manhattan Corral was the Cheers bar.
They look so drastically different. Cheers started in 1982. So Cheers took over the soundstage from Bosom Buddies.
Where the mechanical bull and the like strategically placed hay was, that could have been like where Norm depressly sat for like 11 years.
Yeah, that's probably exactly where Norm sat. That's kind of depressing.
So as I mentioned, Hank is like bouncing around the bar, like trying to buy beer for women, but he runs into a woman who I guess was there with another man.
Mm-hmm.
And not just a man, but like a burly man.
Like an actual cowboy.
Yeah, like a real urban cowboy. Like it's like he ran into John Travolta. They couldn't get him, so they just found this like stand-in. And Hank is like standing up to him, and Kip like from afar like sees what's going on. He like runs over. He's like, dude, just like ignore my friend. Like he's a little slow.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about, but Hank, he tries to make a swing at this guy, and the guy just like grabs his arm and clocks him in the face, and he does that like sitcom punch in the face where he goes like flying across the room like Jazz in The Fresh Prince being like thrown out of Bel Air.
Yes, very true.
And thank God the hay was there, because that's where he lands. And he gets up, like, trying to, like, brush it off as, like, it's just, like, bros being bros. All the ladies are just, like, they're all sickened by him, including Amy.
They're just done. They are D-U-N, done.
So he goes through, like, all the girls, then he gets to Amy, and he's like, I guess it's Amy.
And she's just not having it. She's like, oh, I guess it's Amy? Oh, hell no.
She is bullshit. She struggles her way through the hay, but she gets out of there, though. And everyone abandons Hank to leave him alone, sitting on the floor of a shitty bar with sappy, generic country western music playing.
And it's not, it was not really good music.
It's really slow. Like, it's like he was, like, trying to get people to dance. It is not danceable music.
Yeah, it's not dancing music. It was not a fun place. It didn't seem like a fun bar.
No, it's a place where you go when you're alone. Nobody knows your name.
And that's good, because you don't want anybody knowing you're there.
And if you're feeling up to it, you'll ride that mechanical bull. I believe Hank lasts 15 seconds on it.
Apparently. One of the girls, the blonde, I believe her name is Sunny, says, gosh, that's the kind of machine that could ruin a marriage.
Was that like a vibrator joke?
I believe it was.
It's like how they can like sneak those references in.
Yes.
So Henry, he's no longer Hank. He comes into work the next day. He's wearing sunglasses because he has a raging black eye.
Yes.
He tries to do like the whole like apology thing to Amy, but she's like not having it.
She's like, here's the typing paper you wanted. Throws like 10 pieces of paper on his desk.
And she knows as part of her job, she actually has to do shit for Henry, and she can't just like pull away from her duties, so she just has to put up with it for a day.
Yeah, she's just like, ugh, God, stuck with this asshole all day.
And doesn't Henry start crying at one point?
Yes, he does start crying. And he says something like, when you wear pantyhose at dinner, it's hard to know what masculine is. Gets really deep, really emotional, and Amy says to him, he's a gentleman. Yeah. Broken down, it means gentle man. And that's why she likes him. Yeah,
and she's like, you know what? Calling a woman a babe or a muffin, I like that she says a muffin.
Muffin.
Is not masculine. I don't know, like, was there another word they wanted to use, but they couldn't, so they just, like, settled with muffin?
Probably.
Because, like, I think of, like, stud muffin would be a guy, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
But there's this whole deep thing going on between Henry and Amy. Like, she's like, you know what, Henry, I like you. I don't like Hank. Like, Hank is a jerk.
Yeah.
Just be yourself. Like, you know what? Like, I know, like, you want to be a stud muffin, for a lack of a better term, but...
Yeah.
Just be yourself, and one day you'll find the right person. And he's like, yeah, all right. You know, you're probably right, because at the end of the day, I'm going to go home and dress up like a lady.
Yeah, so I might as well just be myself.
Behind all of this, there is something brewing at the ad agency that we just brushed by.
We kind of glossed over that for a little bit.
The cookies, Grandma Katie's.
The cookies were filled with mercury.
Yeah, Grandma Katie's cocoa cookies. The FDA is shutting them down because they're stuffed with mercury.
Like, how do cookies end up with mercury?
I have no idea.
Like, what are you putting in these cookies that you end up with mercury?
There is like a poison subplot going on here.
So, but the best part is, like, they know this is going on. Henry is eating the cookies in the re-return in that last scene.
Yeah, they're eating the cookies. Ruth Dunbar is trying to, like, smother this.
Yeah, she's got a crate of cookies coming out of her office. Like, she had, like, probably, like, 20 boxes of cookies. I don't know why she had 20 boxes of cookies in her office, but she's got them loaded up, and she's talking to this guy, so you're going to dump them in the harbor, and then we're never talking about this again. Oh, by the way, they should be in a lead container. Like, right before she sends the guy onto the elevator.
You know what? That is not very Peggy Olson-like.
No, it's not.
No. Like, Peggy Olson would have done the honorable thing. She would have, like, backed away from this contract. She'd be like, you know what? We don't work with fucking criminals.
Like, why is the ad agency getting rid of the cookies? Maybe they were a subsidiary of the petroleum company that was also owner of the cookies.
Dunbar did say something like it's a good thing we already sold, like, 13,000 of these before we discovered this.
Like 15 million cookies already or something.
Like, I guess they made their money, and then they have to drop the client.
Yeah.
It was just like a dumb, like, subplot, but...
Yeah, but Henry's still eating the cookies, and once Kip and Henry see what she's doing, Kip grabs the bag of cookies and throws them in the next open elevator and yells, "Fire in the hole!" And both of them jump and try to pretend to duck for cover.
Yeah, they pretend they're in, like, World War I, like they're in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you think of the episode? What was your take on Bosom Buddies, Macho Man?
I think it was the best episode we could have done.
Of Bosom Buddies?
Of Bosom Buddies, yes.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more from this.
I was expecting a bit more, like, comedy, but it kind of works.
Yeah, it was really strange. Like, I was expecting a lot of shenanigans.
Maybe we need an episode focusing on Kip for more shenanigans.
I was expecting, like, they have to be, like, men 1 second, and they have to, like, run into another room and be women, and, like, come back and forth. That's kind of what I had in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the cross-dressing part it's kind of, like, in the background.
Yeah, because, well, I don't think they've really wanted to play it up as much as it gets played up.
One thing I wanted to mention in the beginning of the episode, so in 2012, a few years back, they tried to kind of, like, in a sense, remake the show. So ABC briefly had a show called Work It.
Okay, yeah.
It loosely followed the same plot, and it was canceled after 2 episodes. So it involved 2 guys. They are, like, laid off from their jobs, and they are trying to find new jobs, but they can't. But they decide, well, they realize that if they dress as women, they can get, like, a better job. So that's what they do.
Yeah.
The show was canceled, and I guess it was very controversial. Like, modern audiences didn't take to this idea as much.
Yeah, I feel like the political correct people, the social justice warriors kind of thing, are not going to embrace this sort of idea. Okay, do you want the rest of my fun facts? Penny Marshall guest starred in a season 2 episode, and as we know, she later went on to direct Tom Hanks in Big and A League of Their Own. Tom and Peter would stay in the drag wardrobe and go over to the Mork and Mindy set to watch Robin Williams rehearse.
Wow, fascinating.
Yeah, Tom met his wife Rita on a season 2 episode. Okay, I have one more. Do you watch the TV show The Goldbergs?
I do not, but I am aware of it.
Okay, the star, Wendy McLendon Covey, I'm always going to mispronounce her name, who plays the mother, when she was a kid, was a huge Bosom Buddies fan. And there was a letter writing campaign to save Bosom Buddies. She sent in 5 letters from her household to try and save Bosom Buddies.
And obviously it didn't take.
No, it didn't, unfortunately. And this was only, like, Tom Hanks' second, like, acting job.
He was fresh into Hollywood at this time.
Yes, he did, like, a Love Boat episode, and then this.
And now he is a completely different human being. He is going to be like Captain Sully in the Sully movie.
Yes, he's going to be Sully.
Like, he only does, like, Oscar movies now.
Yeah, he only does, like, serious stuff, and I miss wacky Tom Hanks. Of course, we have discussed this. I don't think we discussed it on the podcast, though. Maybe we did, but A League of Their Own being the best Tom Hanks movie.
Yes.
Because you get serious and wacky.
Yes, we love Wacky Tom Hanks. We hope you come back someday. If you hear this podcast, definitely pick a more wacky role.
Yes, and tweet us.
I don't even care if it's Joe versus the Volcano 2. Like, just come back and do something that we would like.
Yeah, let's do The Burbs 2016.
This is our plea. Like, we do not want to live through Colin Hanks. I know he looks like you and sounds like you, but he's not the same.
I mean, we'll take that thing you do update, too.
Just do something, Tom, please.
Something a little lighthearted, please.
I think we should not end our episodes teasing the next episodes, only because sometimes we do not.
No, we shouldn't.
Only because sometimes we never do those episodes next. So a new way to end this episode is we would love requests.
Yes, send us a request at Very Podcast on Twitter.
We will definitely watch anything you ask us to, because...
As long as we can find it. There are things that have been requested and we have not been able to find.
What have we not been able to find?
There's that movie that got requested.
Oh, House?
Yeah.
Someone on YouTube requested the movie House. We are looking for it. When we find it, we'll do it. If it's something that's on Netflix or Hulu or even Crackle, we'll definitely find it.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us on @VeryPodcast on Twitter, a very special podcast at tumblr.com on the internet, and what else we have?
There's a Facebook page too, a Very Special Podcast.
Yeah, we don't do too much. Maybe this season we'll start doing more with it.
Yeah, well, with Halloween, if we do what we plan, we should be posting like crazy. I'm gonna have to make a list of stuff for Halloween.
Check us out in all of our previous episodes. Do not listen to the Burbs episode unless you have time, and as always,
bye!
Until next time.